Hey, welcome to the second episode of the Sports Shed podcast. We just want to thank our viewers for coming back, watching our show, and we're just going to get started. But before I do, I just want to introduce everyone here. To my left is Jack. To my right is Zach. And next to him is another Zach, but we'll say Zach Sierra to differentiate. So we're going to get started right away. We actually received... Oops. My apologies. We actually received a request from Total Randomness 7282 and want us to talk about the Tyson Jake Paul fight. Whoever wants to getting started, go right ahead.
So I don't know like the official rules, but I've heard talks of like they're going to be wearing like headgear during this fight.
No, they're not.
No,
they are. No headgear will be used in the bout between Tyson and Paul.
Because I was just gonna get into like I wasn't really gonna take it seriously if they were gonna wear headgear because Jake Paul has had like official fights like without it. So for the fact that he wants to take on this fight and then they just like let's just put on headgear, I wouldn't have taken it seriously.
Can y'all tell me the weight of this guy?
I believe
Jake Paul. Yeah,
I believe Mike Tyson has to be 165. That's what I believe.
Okay, Jake Paul weighs...
I'm getting 199. And Tyson...
Well, 100. There's no way Mike Tyson's going to weigh 165.
Anyone guesses?
For Jake Paul?
So, 195. 195.
So what I'm getting is he weighed 199 in his last fight. And in Tyson's last fight in 2020 against Roy Jones Jr., he weighed 220. So they're not really that far off. I'm sure they can meet at a similar weight.
Yeah.
I was watching some clips, right? As far as each other's training, of course, Mike Tyson is close to being 60. And the man still got speed.
He was going crazy.
He was going crazy. Whereas Jake Paul, pretend that you're watching a slow motion.
You can see
you can see the difference.
You can see the levels.
And I also want to know, is this for charity or they're actually getting paid to do this?
This is legit.
I think it's going to be on Netflix.
No, I have to know. Maybe I need to know before I comment.
I can't talk unofficial, but what I can say is that in Mike Tyson's last fight, it was just an exhibition with Roy Jones Jr. But Jake Paul, his last few fights have been like official fights.
Okay.
People. He fought Tommy Fury, a legit boxer, and he lost by a decision.
Yep.
But Jake Paul has had official fights, so I'm saying there's no reason why this should not be an official fight.
This is insane.
And if it's an exhibition, I'm not taking this seriously
At all.
I'm leaning more towards like it's just for show and it's rigged.
That's what I think.
It's almost like it's just for show and a money grab, almost. In ways.
I mean,
it's Mike Tyson and Jake Paul are set to face off in a boxing match on Netflix.
Okay.
It's gonna be live streamed.
So it's a money grab.
Which Tyson potentially making close to 20 mil.
Yeah, money grab. It's a money grab.
I'm sorry. I'm Mike Tyson. Yo, knock this man
for real
out. Just knock him.
I don't know why people
Listen,
saying Jake Paul. I don't know why people are saying Jake Paul. The only real boxer that he faced, he lost to.
Yes.
I mean,
apparently he fought some amateur last fight, but
he got dropped in the first round.
All right. Okay.
Can I say one thing?
Yes,
I didn't even know he fought him until after the fight was over.
Same.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Same.
But go on.
Okay. So let's put things into perspective here. We have two brothers, right? This guy, Jake Paul, ready to fight Mike Tyson. So we have two YouTubers. One of them now wants to be in the boxing world only because he became famous through YouTube.
Yeah, and can.
And that's great. I'm happy for him. But just because you're famous, it doesn't mean that you can become a boxer overnight. And that's basically essentially what he's trying to do. Now, you're talking about going up against, he had one professional, if I understood you correctly, he went up against one, maybe two professional boxers. Everyone else, let's just say
amateurs.
Amateurs, okay.
Or celebrity.
Either way, it's the same difference to me. Mike Tyson, I have one advice for you. Put him out. I watched you box. I have not seen you box in a long time. Put him out. And I will be a happy man.
He boxed Roy Jones Jr. 4 years ago, and he was clearly the better boxer, clearly the fighter.
You're referring to Mike Tyson, right?
Mike Tyson.
Okay.
4 years ago,
Okay.
he looked like he was walking circles around Roy Jones. So
He looked like he took it
there's
easy.
no reason for Mike Tyson not to come out and
Mike Tyson,
take this
please,
somewhat serious.
just out of the respect,
he's ready.
just
He
out of
definitely-
just out of the respect for the sport, because this guy, and this is my opinion, this guy's making a mockery of the sport.
Basically,
He is literally making a mockery of the sport. I don't want you to hurt him permanently, but I want you to hurt him to the point where he literally has to think over and over again, with the help of Dr. Phil, of never entering a boxing ring again. You've got two clowns that became famous through YouTube, and God bless him. God bless them. And now all of a sudden, because they have a little notoriety, you know what? I'm going to get into a boxing ring because I can do this. Because I'm Jake Paul. I am a Paul brother.
See,
So now you want to make a mockery of a sport that people have been basically working out, practicing, putting their time and energy, not for a year, not for two, practically their lifetime. But you want to come in as a YouTuber boxer to make a name for yourself again with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, knock him out to the point when that happens. I'm going to quote Chris Tucker in the movie Friday. You just got knocked and you fill in the blank.
see, I can't.
Okay. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and move on to our next topic with the NCAA men's bracket. And what do we all have after this past Sunday with all the brackets coming out?
That also goes back into what you were talking about yesterday. You brought up how they're thinking of bringing in more teams, like a couple more play-ins.
That could be
instances
fine.
like that, where that could be Indiana State. That's just an idea. Indiana State, St. John's.
Yeah, I know. I read an article. I don't remember when, quite some time ago, about potentially increasing more college teams. But then, when do you end it? Do you have a shorter schedule during the regular season? If you do expand it, do you begin the tournament earlier during the middle of the week?
I think what they do is you make it. You could do one instead of 1 through 16. You could even possibly do 1 through 18, possibly.
So just
And you
add
could
two
still
more
include
teams.
a couple more play-ins, and then the one would play the 18. That's one way of doing it. Just right what I thought.
So just add two more teams, basically.
To each, you would be adding 8 actually.
So
'Cause
8
you
overall,
would
basically.
add
Okay,
8, and then you could even
Okay.
whether or not you still have the playing games. I don't know.
that
how
seems
that
fair.
works out.
That seems fair
But it's just an idea.
for bubble teams. Yeah.
I mean, even looking at this bracket, though, I mean, at some point, we're all gonna have to figure out who everyone's gonna be. Their final 4 picks is gonna be.
I got my final 4.
So, well, let's hear it.
You want to hear my final 4?
Well, I asked, didn't I?
All right, I'll give you my final 4. I got Iowa State versus North Carolina, and I got NC State versus McNeese.
All right.
All right.
Hold up. Let me
you might want to
let me say that is my underdog bracket.
We need a real bracket, bro.
You want my real? I'll give you my real bracket.
bro, give me your serious bracket.
All right, I'll give you my series.
I'm sorry, viewers. I'm sorry to waste
I'll
your
give
time.
you my series.
Let me
bracket.
rephrase my
I
question
was
again.
on the wrong one.
Let me rephrase my question again. What are your final 4 picks?
All right,
the
here we
word
go.
underdog was
Here
never
it is.
mentioned.
Ready? UConn and North Carolina, Marquette and Purdue.
Okay.
Those are my final 4.
Okay.
Okay.
I think Purdue's losing early. I'm not gonna lie.
I could see that. I could see them losing against TCU.
I have them losing to where's Purdue? I have them losing to Creighton.
Creighton. I could see.
Yeah, I'm leaning Creighton.
You got Creighton. See, I have them losing against TCU.
Yeah.
That's what I can see them losing against.
But I mean, I feel like a lot of people are taking McNeese over Gonzaga. I'm not gonna lie. So.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. We were talking about it yesterday. I think a lot of us like all the 12 seeds, and I'm just gonna list them off real quick. So the only one I think a lot of us don't really have any question about in terms of a 5 seed winning is San Diego State over UAB, even though that's still no easy win. But then here are the other 3: James Madison against Wisconsin, who I believe they have. Didn't you say they had the most wins? I think.
But James Madison has the most wins in the country.
They have 31 and 3.
McNeese over Gonzaga, and then the other one is Grand Canyon over St. Mary's.
I have every 12 seed winning against the 5 seed except for San Diego State.
Yeah, I have Grand Canyon winning over Alabama.
Yeah. And then I have Drake over Washington State.
Well, technically St. Mary's, but
I really haven't had my chance to view my Final Four picks, but I'm a real fan of over the years of 12 seeds over 5 seeds. That's typically where most of the upsets tend to be. In this case, though, as far as the 12 seed, I do like James Madison a lot, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And McNeese State.
I agree.
I actually seen McNeese State, and I can't recall the gentleman's name, but they have this center that's going to be almost impossible to try to stop him. But I do like McNeese State and James Madison. State. So who's the other? I don't know about Grand Canyon over St. Mary's, to be honest with you. No. I still like St. Mary's. They did beat Gonzaga for the conference title. Well-deserved number 5 seed. Although surprisingly, Gonzaga lost and still got a 5 seed themselves. So that one is a bit surprising more than anything else.
I think they were only like a game or 2 behind St. Mary's. Like it was like they were both ranked when they did it. But I do think
I think a sleeper team in the bracket is probably New Mexico. Honestly, I'm pretty sure they have 2 big men that are really good. Pretty sure. Could be wrong. I haven't really seen a lot of games from New Mexico, but yeah,
I'm liking Creighton a lot.
Creighton,
yeah, Creighton as one of my Final Fours.
Yeah,
I see like the path they have to go, and I don't know. I kind of like it and how they played this year. But here's one we could get into. I think this will be good. St. Mary's 2.0.
St. Mary's?
St. Peter's.
I'm sorry.
St. Peter's.
St. Peter's.
No.
I mean,
okay. No, I don't see it.
No.
They were about in the same boat record-wise when they won it 2 years ago, and then they have another 15-2 matchup like they did 2 years ago.
I don't see them getting by Tennessee because I haven't done my Final Four pick. And about a week and a half ago, I have Tennessee as one of my Final Four picks, no matter who they play, to be honest. So it's as much as I would love to see St. Peter's do another run to the Elite Eight, I just don't see it happening. Tennessee has just a really great defense. They can score in bunches like there's no tomorrow. And the fact that they actually came out of the SEC with the Kentucky's, Alabama, and Auburn. Auburn won the conference tournament, by the way. I just don't see how Tennessee is going to lose to St. Peter's. But then again, there has been several 15 seeds that have won, including a couple of 16 seeds over a number 1. So I guess anything is possible. But if you had to pick out of all the number 1s, which one would likely, out of all 4, could lose?
Purdue, 100%.
It's kind of tough because we do still have the 2 play-ins for the 16 seeds because I've seen Grambling has had a really good season, but it's still not even a guarantee they get past Montana State. But
it's Purdue.
It's probably Purdue.
You know, if I had to pick one,
you're gonna go Houston, are you?
I gotta go Houston.
Yep.
I have to go Houston. Reason being, I was. It's not that they lost.
They got destroyed
to Iowa State. It's just the way they lost. I mean, they couldn't shoot. even though they're the number one defensive team in the country, allowing a little over 56 points a game, they're averaging themselves, I believe, 72 points a game, which is about a 16-point differential between points allowed and points scored. But to score less than 50, so I mean, you just basically have to match up their defense. Their offense is very susceptible. Again, even when they, what was it, several years ago, last year, when they went to the Final Four, again, Sampson is a coach that is defensive minded. But when you can't score consistently or you cannot put up those points, you can allow them to score 50 or 60 points, but when you can't even get past 50 points yourself, again, it's a long shot. Am I going to pick them to lose in the bracket? No.
So who do you think can knock Houston out? Because they're not going to lose against Longwood.
I mean,
they'd have to go up against either Wisconsin or Duke or Duke,
which would be in Sweet 16.
Yeah, they would face Duke in the Sweet 16 if they won.
Duke.
I personally got them beating Duke.
I don't think Duke's getting by in the second round. I don't think they get by in the second round.
So you got James Madison Sweet 16.
You know what? That's my 12th pick. Yeah, I got James Madison in the Sweet 16. Yeah.
See, I got NC State in the Sweet 16.
Something I want to just mention is I feel like every year there's a playing team that makes like a run to at least the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight, and I think this year I'm going to say it's going to be Virginia. I think they're going to win their plan, and then I think they're going to beat Texas, and then I think they're going to beat Tennessee. Every year it seems like there's one playing team, and that would be my pick for this year would be Virginia.
Well, the first time they did that, I believe VCU was one of the teams, and they actually made it to the Final Four that year, the first year it happened. But you know what? As far as the play-in, you sold me on Boise State. I'm sold. After all those big wins against ranked teams and teams that are actually in the tournament as well.
Yeah, they would play Florida, and then they would have to play Marquette.
So, I got another question.
You know what? I'm going Boise State, going to the Sweet 16 just by looking at that little area there in that bracket.
How do you feel like UConn is really that big of a superpower?
I think the thing with UConn is that they were the number one seed, like the top number one seed, and they lost 3 starters and did this. I think that's what's most impressive about UConn. I think it's insane on how much of a superpower people are making these guys that it almost seems like they're unbeatable, that people are trying to make it seem. I won't say it's unbeatable. I think they're just showing respect where respect is due. I mean, you come off a national title, and then you lose 3 starters, and you're the number 1 team going into the tournament.
That's understandable.
I haven't heard anything like, oh, UConn's going to destroy them, but I think they're just giving them respect because they've earned it.
I mean, you got to remember, they're the defending champions. They lose 3 solid starters,
possibly even 4 if I'm not mistaken,
and they're reloading. And nowadays, and especially in college basketball, we have a transfer portal, you have the NIL deals, and he's still able to bring in players. I mean, they almost got Cooper Flag, okay, and he just happened to. It came down to UConn and Duke, and he chose to play for Duke. I mean, you got to remember, not only are they the number 1 seed in the Eastern bracket, but they're the number 1 overall team out of the 4 number 1 seeds. They're coming from a national. They're the defending champions. You have to make them the favorite. You just have to.
Yeah. I would also like to quickly mention that in the East, which UConn is in, 3 out of last year's 4 Final Four teams are in that side: UConn, FAU, and San Diego State. Those 3 are all on the same side as UConn. I just thought that was pretty interesting, and I wanted to mention that for the viewers.
Yeah, I actually saw that yesterday when the brackets came out. Well, we all know all 3 are not making the Final Four. That's a guarantee. But
not this time.
And if all like were to line up and they were to win, like it would be next round UConn, FAU, and then if San Diego State took care of business, it'd be San Diego State and then UConn. I just thought that's pretty interesting.
Well, Jack, who are your final 4 picks?
I mean, I'm a little biased, but I could care less, to be honest. But I have Illinois against North Carolina, Marquette and Creighton, and then I have North Carolina winning it all. But to talk about your thing about UConn, Zach, like every starter is averaging 10 plus. They have a 0-star recruit who's their leading scorer. I mean, it's like.
I'm sorry. What'd you see again?
They had a 0-star recruit, 0 stars in his senior year of high school. They picked him up and he's averaging 15.2 a game, 7 rebounds and 6 assists. 0-star recruit, and then I can list. I can keep going. 14.5, 13.9, 12.5, and 10.8. That's every starter. Every player is above 10 points a game. I mean, that's pretty hard to beat.
Can we just put them in the NBA over Detroit?
No.
Detroit
would whoop them.
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
That is kind of crazy.
I mean, 0-star recruit, and you're the leading scorer for probably the best team in college right now. I mean, that's crazy.
Absurd.
That's actually impressive. I didn't even know that
their
leading scorer was a 0-star recruit. Who is he, by the way? What's
his name's Tristan Newton, and he's a guard.
Tristan Newton.
Yep.
All right, more power to you, my friend. Man, did not know that.
He balling.
If we had to pick the one team that was seeded probably a little too high, who would that be?
Sorry, I gotta look this up.
The only team that comes in mind to me is FAU.
Yeah, what was the question?
If you had to pick a team, it could be more than one. If you had to pick a team that was seeded, in your opinion, too high, and they should have been seeded lower or not be in it, which team would it be? My team would be FAU. That would be my team.
They're interesting because
I think Clemson.
I would go Clemson.
I just say FAU because they started out to be ranked in the top 10 earlier in the year. I believe even top 5 or 6. And then they had a couple of losses. They stayed in the 10th overall at one point. And they ended up losing to Florida Gulf Coast University in the middle of the season. And I believe they went from 10 down all the way ranked 17 or 18th. And if I remember, Zach, you said they shouldn't even been ranked after that loss.
Yeah, after the one to Florida Gulf Coast, yeah. So I'm looking at it right now, and UAB is in this tournament, and they finished 4th, and somehow South Florida finishes 16-2 in the conference, 24-7 to UAB's 23-11, and South Florida's not even in it.
No.
So how does UAB get in?
UAB got in because they won. They won. Yeah, they beat Temple yesterday.
So then how does South Florida, who's two games better in the conference and 1 game better than Florida Atlantic,
and South Florida,
what's the strength of schedule though?
But again, South Florida, I believe, I don't know if it was both, but it was on TV on ESPN. I had watched the game, and South Florida handled FAU at South Florida. So they beat them head to head too. I mean, I believe South Florida won the regular season title.
FAU has a couple good wins. They beat Arizona and they beat Texas A&M, who was ranked at the time.
So I got another question with that. So you're saying someone who's ranked too high, who would replace them in the bracket?
I think NC State.
I think NC State got ripped off for being placed that low. They dominated the Tar Heels. They dominated Duke.
I wasn't dominant.
I wouldn't say dominant. I mean, they won. They won 5 games in 5 days. I mean, that's only happened 3 times in any conference tournament history. That's happened 3 times. And to do that 5 days,
in the ACC?
5 games in 5 days, no, just in any tournament in general.
No, I know, but they did it in the ACC,
and they did it in the They did it in the ACC. But
I think they deserve single digits.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
so possibly I would probably move Michigan State from 9 and put Michigan State at 11 and switch those two. That's what I would do.
I just want to quickly, since I believe I'm the only one that hasn't said my Final Four, I just want to say really quick, I think it's going to be UConn, Marquette, North Carolina, and Creighton. That's my unofficial right now. Just want to put that out there.
I mean, the East bracket looks pretty, I don't want to say easy for UConn, but I'm going to go with Iowa State in the East. Okay? I'm going to go with Iowa State. I'm not going with Marquette. I'm just not. Can't do Marquette. Marquette, it just does not look, I don't feel comfortable with Marquette.
Comfortable with anybody in the South.
So, yeah. So right now,
because I'm like Duke, I'm like Marquette. After seeing how Houston went out in the tournament, I'm like, I don't know. And it's like I think James
Can
Madison.
Houston bounce back from that?
I think they can. I mean, they're going to be able to probably manhandle more than likely the 16th seed.
And then it's like, is NC State going to continue and win a couple more games? I don't know how I feel about Kentucky. Like, that's the one where I'm like, that's why I say unofficial. It's that the South.
I mean, you could potentially have a Kentucky-NC State matchup. Okay,
and NC State's winning that.
And
I'm taking
Kentucky. Remember, Kentucky, I believe, has scored 6 or 7 times this year, the most in the country, over 100 points a game. So
who's their leading scorer?
If they're not mistaken, I think they put up 100 and still lost.
Yeah,
they did that against who was it?
Because NC State's big boy will lock that dude down. Bro.
Pretty sure it's against Tennessee.
I'm gonna look this up really
Tennessee,
quick.
$10, Tennessee.
I think it was
Tennessee.
Who was it? I want to say no. Was it Alabama?
Tennessee.
Let's see. So they're hundreds. When they scored 100, they won 105 to 96. They lost to Tennessee 103 to 92. They beat. It was against Alabama. No. Well, yeah. So Alabama and Arkansas. So Alabama was 117 to 95, and then Arkansas they won 111 to
Alabama. Okay. All right.
So they didn't
So their defense is suspect. Because they're also allowing 90 points, 80 points, or even 100.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty bad.
Yeah, it is pretty bad. But at the end of the day, that's why that one is a little bit too tough for me. You know what? I'm gonna reserve my rights to what I'm gonna pick in the Final Four. I'm just not ready for it yet. I like to do my homework a little bit and see how it turns out. But in any event, I know all of you just pretty much picked your Final Four except for me. So
I'm still unofficial in the South, but
you're unofficial.
I'm pretty confident in the other three, but it's that Marquette side.
That Marquette.
That's the only one. Why I say unofficial.
I'm not sold on Marquette. I want to. I love the head coach, Shaka Smart. I love Shaka Smart. I love the guy.
Have you seen their guards play?
I've seen the whole team
I think
play.
one of them's averaging like 16 a game.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
So I want to pick Marquette so bad right now. I really do, but I just can't. I'm not sold. Can't do it. And if I did, it's because I actually.
Let me see if I can do it. 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 Ready?
Go ahead.
They beat number 23 Illinois. They beat Kansas, number 1 at the time. They lost by Purdue by 3. They beat Texas by 11.
Marquette.
This is all Marquette, and they beat Creighton twice.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
They got some
They
good
beat,
wins.
they beat Creighton once.
They can score.
Let's see. I believe they beat St. John's, who just missed out. They beat St. John's twice, who just missed out.
I know they lost to UConn twice.
They did lose to UConn twice. Those are the big ones.
Join the nation.
But yeah, they did beat Kansas when they were number 1.
I'm telling you, they're nice.
Okay.
Marquette is nice. I got Marquette winning.
But I could see Duke. Like I could see a lot of teams.
Okay.
Like Houston. It's pretty hard.
I don't see Houston doing it.
Houston
is very tough to pick to go.
I mean, their defense. They have the best defense.
Their only question is, will they score?
They have the best defense, yeah, but they can't score.
Here. Before we move on, I just want to make a final note. All right, and I need to throw mention this story with Long Beach State.
Yep.
15th seed. against Arizona. This is the one team that even if it messes up my bracket, I would love to see put on a show in the tournament.
Agreed.
All right? All the way, I don't care how far they go. And the reason being is their head coach, I believe a week before their conference tournament started, the new athletic director met with Don Munson and, hey, after 17 years at the helm, decided to part ways. Okay. However, Don Munson was asked and agreed, hey, I'll coach the team till the end of the season. Probably with the anticipation that he wasn't going to win the conference tournament and go into the tournament.
Because I don't know if you just said, did they just lose like their last 5 regular season games?
Something like that. They had
they
just
went on like a losing streak.
Yeah, they went on a losing streak towards the end, 4 or 5. I'm not sure.
I can look it up real quick.
And then they ended up running the tables in their own conference tournament and
winning it.
That is going to be interesting because that's probably what's going to be talked about right at the beginning of the game between Arizona and Long Beach State. But that's the one game I'm going to keep my eye on because you know what? I love that story, and I hope that he can take it as far as we can. And I would like to see that team go into the Sweet 16.
They ended the regular season on a 5-game losing streak, and then they went into their tournament and won 3 straight.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
So and those teams that they beat were the teams that they lost to in the regular season.
That's a good story.
Man. And the one team and the one coach that'll probably keep an eye on that if they do win, it's going to be Gonzaga and Mark Few because Dan Munson used to coach probably about 20 years ago before he took the job in Minnesota after Gonzaga because that's when Gonzaga was the Cinderella stories every year. And he used to coach Gonzaga for those of you that don't know who he is or didn't know that. So I'm sure people up in Seattle are going to be actually rooting for that man, and because I will.
And I seen it was like I believe this is Long Beach State's first appearance since 2012.
Yeah, I believe it's 17 years as a head coach at Long Beach State. They only made the tournament 4 times.
And then just the one time when they finally decided to go their separate ways,
now they're saying,
"Hold on, let me show y'all something."
Yeah. Hopefully, he's worked his way
team
to another
plays
job.
for him.
Hopefully, he works his way to another job. Well, moving right along. From the NCAA bracket, men's bracket. Again, the past weekend, there has been some interesting trades, signings, and the one that really, really got me was when the Bears decided to trade Justin Fields to the Steelers for a conditional 6th pick, and depending on how that wording is, could potentially end up being a 4th round pick.
That's if he plays 50% of the snaps this season.
Okay. Which right now it doesn't appear to be, because Russell Wilson pretty much is the starter. I believe he's been told, Fields has been told that he is going to be a backup. What is he, 23, 24 years old, be a backup for 1 year. There's going to be a team out there that's going to need you probably at the end of this coming season.
Now, the thing I feel is if I'm Justin Fields, I feel disrespected. And I'm taking what just happened very personal. Seeing that the only team that really gave you a shot and believed in you was the Steelers, and they only gave up a 6th round pick. It's kind of disrespectful for what he did at the end of that season for the Bears.
But who would you think Justin Fields is disrespected by, though?
He should be disrespected by every other team besides Pittsburgh.
Well, you have to understand too, though, that.
So here's the report that came out.
Besides the people that have QBs, obviously.
It says that Justin Fields, he wanted the Steelers, and the Bears did right by him. So I think there's a thing going around that he said he wanted to go to the Steelers.
Because there were 4 teams that to this, as of now, nobody know which 4 teams he didn't want to be traded to. So at the beginning, maybe early on, him probably didn't tell the Bears that I want to be traded to the Steelers. They're going to try to get as much as they can for him. And I can't blame. First of all, people got to realize the Bears are in a unique situation. They've got Justin Fields that can be probably a starting quarterback in any team that needs a quarterback, number one. Number two, they've got the number 1 draft pick overall. They've got the number 9 pick overall. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. They're going to draft Caleb Williams. This is before even the trade even happened. they're going to draft Caleb Williams, and they're going to draft the 9th overall a starting wide receiver.
Or lineman.
They're not drafting a lineman. They're drafting a wide receiver. I don't care if they got Keenan Allen. They're drafting a wide receiver. They're going to have to draft
Bears
one.
could be.
Bears could
The Bears could be lethal next year. I'm not gonna
DJ
lie.
Moore too, though.
They have DJ Moore, but Keenan Allen always seems to get hurt.
And they have Cole Kmet. Don't forget about him.
I know. For a change. He played last year for a change. I still would draft. I mean, listen. I would draft a wide receiver knowing that Keenan Allen usually gets hurt, and you want to have a security blanket.
You're just going to run into the same thing you ran into with Justin Fields.
And what is that?
You don't have any line. You don't have a line. And, I mean, you still have a what? Subpar wide receiver 1?
Somebody look up for me how many sacks Justin Fields in how many games.
Well, he was hurt, so.
But I'm saying how many sacks? How many times was he sacked when he actually played?
Okay.
Because again, Justin Fields ended up winning what? Probably I think what they go 7-9 last year, right? Or 8-9, I believe. Either 7-10 or 8-9. I forget which one they go in. But
I think it was 7-9.
Listen, I just had a feeling they were going to trade him.
The 13th best line as of
offensive line.
Okay.
Offensive line.
Okay. So they were 3 spots away from a top
32
10.
teams.
Out of 32 teams.
Okay, so they were the average.
So they weren't average.
No, they were above
That's
average.
not-
Above average.
I would say they were above average.
They're
above average.
So it seems about the average is about 45-ish, and they gave up like 50.
That sacks.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's respectable.
So above
That's
above
respectable.
average.
All right.
That's
So they're
respectable.
not terrible.
They're not terrible.
No.
So they actually, to some degree, they had a line.
Yeah,
so I mean,
So the offensive line
you might
wasn't
as
the
well
issue.
go wide
They're
receiver.
better than Seattle, so I mean.
Yeah.
I mean,
So you might as well go wide receiver there at 9.
sorry, Blitz, he didn't mean that. All right. So okay, so
That's
they
okay.
did have a
Could be
line
somehow.
that they, to some degree, protected Justin Fields because Justin Fields can run outside of the pocket, create plays on his own when nothing is there.
Yeah.
So again, so they still have pretty much a line to protect Caleb Williams, who also can run, probably has a stronger arm than Justin Fields. And you also have to remember, you're gonna have Caleb Williams for 5 years. First 4 years.
Caleb Williams is a drama queen.
You're gonna have Caleb Williams for the first 5 years. The 5th year would be a team option. He's still gonna come cheaper because after this year, someone's going to have to pay Justin Fields. So you win the first 4 years or the first 3 years without having to pay a quarterback. He was hurt. Now you got Caleb Williams. Now, as far as him being a drama queen, I mean, you know, you got to talk to his
I
father.
haven't heard anything about him.
I just want to
literally.
get into this really quick. That the top 5 teams that got sacked the most were like the worst teams in the league. Okay, and I'm just gonna talk about the Commanders right now because you like to hate on Sam Howell and notice how second most the Commanders, right? The Giants gave up 20 more sacks than the second.
Trash.
Okay, that's the problem with the Giants. Is that yes, you've shown me that they have made moves, but they have not been the right moves. So the problem with the Giants is to not draft a quarterback because he's going to have the same issue that Daniel Jones and Tommy DeVito had to deal with last year, and that's not getting protected. They need to work on this line. They need to draft a receiver and build around a quarterback. It's the same thing with the 49ers. They built a team for success, and then you can bring in a quarterback to succeed.
So my advice.
And those 5 teams: Giants, Commanders, Panthers, Jets, and Titans.
Wow.
Giants are trash.
And then the next one is the Broncos and the Bears.
So at the end of the day, the Bears do have a line. To some extent, they do have a line where that Caleb Williams can work with. And he's a little bit more agile probably than Justin Fields, or about the same. But either way,
I don't know about that one.
Well, he can run.
He can
He
move
can't
himself.
move like
He can
Justin
move.
He can
Fields,
move,
man.
but like it's not like Justin Fields.
can't
I think
move like
he
Justin
can
Fields.
process the receivers in the field better to make a quicker decision.
I'll give you that.
But at the end of the day, though, I mean,
Because he was running around for his life at USC.
See, exactly. And the thing people got to realize is that a lot of people want to knock Caleb Williams down, but at the end of the day, he was the reason why they went 7-5 and posted up monster offensive numbers.
Their defense was trash.
You got to remember, they were allowing what, 40 points, 50 points?
Just about.
They're going to play 40. So, I just want to say this Justin Fields thing real quick. Not sure how. I mean, it's by Sports Illustrated, and they put out an article saying that Justin Fields rejected 4 trade destinations before the deal with the Steelers. So it just kind of shows that he wanted to go to the Steelers. So,
and they ended up basically taking what they can from the Steelers, and I think it was the right thing to do.
I think like at worst he's kind of gonna have like a Baker Mayfield situation where
can I tell you guys something?
After this season, I think he's going to possibly maybe sign for a 1-year deal. And then, like Baker, if he performs, then he can sign that multi-year extension.
Well, can't they pick up the 5th year after this year?
Whenever that contract ends.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Don't know what y'all talk about, but I just looked up something.
We've been listening to
Sam Howell. To talk about you, because you don't like Sam Howell, apparently.
Let's get into it.
Why are we talking about Sam
Howell? Listen. Damn. Okay, Sam Howell was sacked the most out of any quarterback. Do you hear this right now? Do you hear the words?
Tell me something
new.
He
was sacked most, 65 times. He is 13th in most yards as a quarterback.
Okay.
This last season.
Okay.
So
where's Jameis Winston at?
Why do I need to talk about Jameis Winston?
Yards, bro? Why are you just talking about passing yards?
Because it's hard to throw the ball when you get sacked. Am I wrong?
There you go.
I mean, you can't throw the ball when you're on the ground. It's 70% of the time in a game.
When you're behind every game.
I mean, and then you have Daniel Jones tearing his ACL while running. I mean, like, come on.
No, it was actually on a drop back.
On a drop, even worse, bro. I mean,
the thing.
Like, we can't
the
talk.
Giants are trash, bro.
Okay. So why are
let
you?
Him get into it. Let him get into it. Let him
get into the Giants.
Right,
go ahead.
bro.
Get into get into your Division 3 team.
Yo, listen. The Giants are trash. All right. John Mara, you're a horrible owner. You want to keep Daniel Jones as your quarterback when you should have franchise tagged him. You're trash. How do you draft one lineman in 2014 second round? Weston Richburg, all right, in 2014 when you knew you had line issues. You hired a GM. He never hired he didn't draft a lineman from 2014 to 2020. Okay? And you wonder why you guys are it's because you guys never drafted one lineman in any round from 2014 to 2020. Period. And when you drafted from 2020 to 2023, you drafted 8 linemen, okay? And only 2 of them have panned out. Andrew Thomas, which was an All-Pro, and they drafted him in 2020 first round. And I would say John Michael Smith's is a good center. He will be if you develop him right and hire a correct offensive line coach, not some bum named Bobby Johnson. Yeah. That's it. Be better.
So what you're saying is, the Eagles are gonna be good. The Cowboys are gonna be good, regular season, and the Commanders are gonna be really good when they draft either Drake May or Jaden Daniels, because you guys have absolutely nothing.
I'm not gonna lie though. Not drafting.
Is that what you're saying? I say you're the one trashing your team, not me.
What do the Giants have?
All I'm gonna say is not drafting one offensive lineman for 6 years is crazy.
Wait a minute. In any round,
in any round,
2014
from 2014 to 2020, when the main issue was the offensive line, they didn't draft one lineman.
And now, in the past 3
years, I got 2 words for that. Damn it, man!
Offensive lineman to try and make up for that. Like, no,
but instead,
that's 3 words.
Instead, we got an owner rather control the team than let his GM that he hires to control the team.
Man, as we say in service on Sundays, you'll be in our prayers. As we were saying,
we'll need more than that. We need our owner to get out and sell it. Sell them. Trash. garbage.
So
Garbage.
So we're not gonna be talking about Giants no more, right? You got it out of your system
Yeah,
now.
I'm good. I'm
sure
good.
you got it out of your system?
It's off my shoulders
Daniel
now.
Jones thing to talk about, or are we done?
Daniel Jones, you're trash.
Okay,
Give that money to
wait,
Saquon.
Before we move on, can you please say that Sam Howell isn't trash? Okay, can you please say that?
Sam Howell, you're Daniel Jones' daddy.
All right, I didn't.
All right.
I do believe he threw for almost 4,000 yards.
I can
think
tell
it
you,
was
he
4,000
threw
yards.
3,946 yards.
Yeah, it was about 4,000 yards.
I mean,
Okay, I mean, I guess.
he's literally that's what.
I mean, what is he?
You know what,
23 years old.
And he had
I think so,
Terry
yeah.
McLaurin to throw to.
One person.
And he had a down year.
I couldn't name you another receiver or tight end.
Terry had a down year, too.
Yeah, he had a really bad year. I had him on my fantasy team.
You
I
have
can
a
tell
team
you.
that didn't have.
Yeah.
You have Washington, no line, either or, no defense, no wide receiver, no tight end, no running back, and yet still threw for almost 4,000 yards.
They have an all right running back.
Yeah,
don't know
sure,
who
you
he
keep
is.
saying that.
And they want to
Nah.
get rid of their two best defensive linemen for
I mean,
a sack of potatoes. Like, what are we?
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Can I tell you who he threw more than? He threw more than Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert.
Okay.
He was hurt.
He threw Justin Fields, Joe Burrow, which he was hurt, right?
He was hurt.
Gino. I mean, he's trash.
That's a backup.
Yeah, it's a backup. Come
He
on.
is.
I mean, Lamar and Jalen. That's Derek Carr. I mean,
Derek Carr played a lot though.
Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson.
I mean, at the end of the day, Sam Howell threw a lot of passing yards, and yes, relatively because they were behind. So when you fall behind, you're gonna throw more to try and catch up.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, but that doesn't make him trash either.
No, it makes his team trash.
We're not saying this because we're like they're Seahawks fans. We're
Right,
saying
I'm a
that-
Seahawks fan, and listen, there are things that I'm still not happy they didn't sign Bobby Wagner, but I'm not gonna go there.
And for the viewers, right? Sam Howell was 23 years old. That is younger than Bo Nix and Penix coming into this year's draft.
Yeah, he's the third youngest, I believe, in
Amen.
the QB.
So,
Technically in the draft.
You know, before anybody wants to say, "Oh, we're defending him because he's now a Seahawks," that's not the case. Again, you got to remember what system, what team he came from, and why those numbers were able to be put up when you're falling behind.
Now, I got a question.
All I want to say is that, like, you got to give a quarterback time to develop, because I'm not saying he's going to be Josh Allen, but if you look at his first, what did you say, like 18, I believe, career starts, the numbers are pretty similar. So it just shows that you can't just give up a quarterback after one, two okay seasons. Like, you still
Unless you're Daniel Jones, you can give up on him after the second year.
We're done with the Giants, bro.
I'm
Seriously.
sorry.
Yeah, we're
I'm
not.
sorry. It just boils, man. It just boils.
Well, listen, bro. Look,
we could give you
listen,
give you a Seahawks jersey if you really want.
Yeah, listen.
I'll take a Seahawks jersey, get OBJ, and then I'll get it.
For the next 5-6 years, you're gonna be in that state. So the clock starts now. Anyway,
I've been in it for 15.
with Sam Howell, at the end of the day, you have to remember the first 18 games starts of his career. And no, I am not saying he's the next Josh Allen. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just reiterating and regarding you have to give time to develop a quarterback. Okay, he's had in the first 18 games more passing yards, more touchdowns, less interceptions, and a better quarterback rating. So, and that's in 18 games with an organization that really was very dysfunctional under Dan Snyder before it was bought by another group. Okay, so when you have that kind of function that it does not work out, and he's still able to do this, okay, there may be something there. You're just not going to give up on a 23-year-old that just put up those numbers in the first 18 games.
And then obviously look at the situation he was in with the Commanders, and now look what he's in with Seattle.
Now,
a little bit better of an offensive line, and a lot better targets.
Now, can I ask my question real quick? Do you think Sam Howell's going to sit as a backup for Geno Smith, or do you think it's a high possibility that he takes over the job from Geno Smith?
From my opinion, I'm not a Seahawks fan, but I've been watching Geno Smith play this last season for almost every game, and I have not seen anything special. I mean, coming off of Sam Howell with his most yards, has no receivers other than Terry McLaurin. He wasn't even having a good year. I really think they should just give Sam Howell a chance.
I agree.
I agree. At this point, there's really nothing left they got.
I agree.
I think this just shows that Geno if he is put on the field, he's going to have to perform and win games.
He's going to have to.
The most expensive backup.
1 to 2 games is not enough.
The one thing is we're at least fortunate enough to where I think these are Gino's last 2 years in Seattle, and I think no matter what, I think we would then try and give a contract depending on how many years Sam Howell has, and then we would give it to him considering he's still young. He's younger than some of the quarterbacks coming into this year's draft, so we have that. We're fortunate enough to trade for a younger QB, and we can at least afford if Geno Smith is performing at a pretty good level the next 2 years. But it just shows that Geno, you're gonna have to come out. You're gonna have to prepare and be ready to win some games.
I mean, man, Drew Lock beat the Eagles all on his own. Like, that was crazy.
Dude, I'll take Drew Lock over Daniel Jones.
Yeah, you have.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Can we please stop talking about
this? Is what happens when you pay a quarterback.
You said Drew Lock.
Please.
You said Drew Lock. All I'm saying is I would take Drew Lock over Daniel Jones.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
We are literally, folks, trying to have him stop talking about the Giants.
It's so hard.
It could be the Cowboys.
But it's hard. Listen, at this point, I'll talk a little bit about the Cowboys if you stop talking about the Giants, bro.
Yeah, you sound like a Cowboy fan right now.
Exactly.
No, I'm not saying I'm going to the Super Bowl, bro. I'm not delusional.
You just don't stop talking about your team.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is actually fun. But no, I mean, in all honesty, besides the Justin Fields, Chase Young went to the Saints. Kenny Pickett's got traded to the Eagles. Derrick Henry got signed by the Ravens.
That's big.
I know what I want to get into.
That is big.
That's
I know what I want to get
big.
into.
What is that?
You told me yesterday how you
Go
feel
ahead.
about him. We know who's watching. Your opinion on the Dolphins next season. I need to hear it. I need to hear it. I need to hear it. Keep that same energy. Keep that same energy what you said yesterday.
I'm gonna keep the same energy.
He was talking crazy.
No.
Why? He was talking spicy.
Why would I?
Crazy.
Why is that crazy? Why is that
talking
crazy?
spicy.
Say it.
What I'm gonna say it. The Miami Dolphins are not making the playoffs next year. Why does that sound so crazy? Explain it to me.
Their offense is the same,
right?
And on their defense,
better.
They bring in Jordan Brooks. All too
right.
well.
I agree.
They're bringing in Shaq Barrett.
I agree.
And they signed Jordan Poyer and
I agree.
Kendall Fuller. That's what they added to their defense.
So what's going to end up happening is Tyreek Hill. You saw what they did to him in the postseason. And I'm not saying he's going to be like this every single game. He's not having the same season again. I'm going to tell you right now. And if he has the same season again, every defensive coordinator should then actually be either lose their jobs or reduce their pay. At this point, look at the game plan that they did against him in the postseason, and that's the same game plan that you applied.
He faced the Chiefs.
I understand that, but that's the thing. Either also, I just don't see them making the playoffs next year. So somebody has listen.
So do you think the Bills are going to do better than what they did this year?
And Jaylen Waddle missed time last season.
I understand.
So who do you think's in over them?
I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
So who do you think's in over them?
Well, let's see.
Yeah, who are your? Well, we know you have the Bills winning the division. So who are your?
Well, last time I checked, Joe Burrows is coming back.
Can he stay healthy? And he's usually gets off.
That goes.
Starts.
And they lost Joe Mixon.
Well, that goes without saying. But
and they might lose T. Higgins.
But again, if Joe Burrow stays healthy, it's a different dynamic. With that being said,
are you saying that they will for sure be ahead of the Dolphins?
I'm sorry.
So who are your 3 teams ahead of the Dolphins?
And I'm taking this into account. I don't think the Jets are making the playoffs either. But what I'm factoring,
I agree.
However, what I am factoring is them potentially losing to the Jets when Aaron Rodgers comes back. Okay, so you got to factor in that kind of loss, whether or not they're going to actually make the playoffs.
I need your 3 teams above the Dolphins.
The 3 teams above the Dolphins?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you.
You got Cincinnati if Joe Burrow is healthy.
No.
So you're saying they're not even gonna scrape wild card?
Do they have Joe Mixon?
They do not.
No, and they don't have T. Higgins. And maybe Jamar. I don't even know about him.
The only thing I've seen talks of them trading for Justin Jefferson and possibly giving up T. Higgins for.
The Vikings said they are not moving.
Okay,
I have.
Hold on a second. Obviously, we're gonna count the 4th division winners. Okay. That's automatic. Okay, and I'm gonna go through the teams every division right now. Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm taking the Steelers to win the division next year.
That's tough.
I'm taking the.
It's Ravens.
And here's
it's
why.
Ravens all the way. They have Derrick Henry.
It's Ravens.
I mean, they
man.
basically didn't lose anyone. I mean,
Patrick Queen went from Baltimore
matter.
to Pittsburgh. What do you mean it doesn't matter?
It's one-
It does
No,
matter.
don't.
That's a linebacker.
It matters a little bit.
It does
It
matter
matters a little bit,
defensively.
but their offense, man.
What do you?
I think we can say that at least 2 will come out of that division.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm
so
taking the
let's not get
Steelers.
caught up.
I'm taking the Steelers. I'm actually gonna take Houston again to win that division.
same.
Okay,
I agree.
same.
I agree.
Okay.
Same.
And then I'm actually gonna take the Denver. I'm just kidding. The Kansas City Chiefs to win. So
Yeah.
that's 4. Okay.
Yeah, that's
All right. Now I'm predicting 2 teams coming out of the AFC North.
Okay.
2 teams. So you can have your pick. I picked the Steelers, right? So you can have your pick: Baltimore, Cincinnati, or Cleveland. It doesn't matter. You can pick 2 out of the 3.
You got to remember, though, that they're going to be beating up on each other.
I understand that,
So you
but
gotta
you got to
factor
remember
in.
that was the only division that actually was over 500.
What-
all 4 teams.
What are
I'm
what
saying
are the
you still
teams'
gotta-
schedules?
You
Huh?
gotta factor
What are
in
they?
that beating
What
up
are their
teams.
schedules? Who does Miami play?
Let's not get into
Well,
that.
we don't need to get into that. You guys asked me a question. I'm just telling
Okay.
you that division without Joe Burrow, all 4 teams went over 500 last year. So I pick any 2. That's 2. So that means at
Now-
least 1 more.
And
Now with
and
the
that's
Steelers-
hoping, hold on, that's hoping Deshaun Watson plays and Joe Burrow.
Of course, absolutely.
Now I got another question. With,
No,
with
I'm
the
not done.
Steelers.
You asked me a question. I have 13.
wanted to know.
I have a
wanted to know.
13 right
I'm
now.
Sure Keith wants
Right.
to know.
And I'm going to tell him.
Hold on.
Oh, guys.
Okay, and I'm going to tell you right now. Okay, right now, if Richardson comes back, I'm going to take the Colts. They have a backup quarterback that actually was 9-8 and was 1 game a backup. I'll take him. You want me to roll the dice? I can name another one. Jim Harbaugh is coming back, and he's got Justin Herbert.
Who's he going to?
Who's Russell throwing to?
Listen, until I'm proven otherwise with what Jim Harbaugh has done, that's all the reason I said I need. Okay, so I just named you
I'm
4.
just talking about the
Keenan Allen
Steelers.
throwing to?
I just named you 4.
I'm just talking about the
who's Justin
Steelers.
Herbert throwing to?
Well,
I want to know
if
who's
they
Russ
draft the
throwing
wide receiver.
And it seems like he's got to stay healthy too because he also
Right.
got hurt last year.
So those quarterbacks have to stay healthy. Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, okay, and Justin Herbert. They got to stay, and then Richardson, the Colts coming back. That's 4 quarterbacks, high draft picks. You guys told me to name them. I just named you 4.
Okay. Okay.
You told me to name them. I just
Yeah.
named you 4.
Hey, next season we're gonna compare the Dolphins
You got
to
it.
teams. We're gonna see.
You got it right here. It's recorded. Gonna be posted.
Oh, he's writing it down.
That way,
Oh.
Documentation.
Uncle Keith, I'm telling him to write this down.
You
so I
got
can-
the documentation.
I
It's
can-
recorded.
I know, but I
We're
can.
gonna
I
have to
want
go all the way back
I want to.
here.
I want to repeat it.
Okay,
for
I
Uncle
gotta
Keith.
write this.
'Cause that was-
Bills. Okay, I'm gonna write it. I'm
And we
gonna
need your
write it.
signature at the bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right at the
signature.
bottom, so I can show the camera.
Steelers, Houston,
Make sure
Denver.
you show the
Should
camera.
write Denver just for him alone. Okay, and Kansas City. Okay.
Show the camera. Sign it.
I will.
Got to sign it too.
No,
Look, I'll sign it before I even finish,
There
bro.
you
I'll
go.
even put the date down. 3/18/24 at 7:52 p.m.
Show it.
I ain't scared. Who did a walk? Oh, like I said, 2 out of the 3. 2 out of the 3 in the AFC
Keith,
North.
Keith,
And I
that
said pick any
Steelers
2.
take is
I said-
tough, dude.
I said pick any 2. Indy, and I even got San Diego. I'm sorry, I'm so used to saying San Diego Chargers and the Chargers. So I named you 5 teams.
Okay.
That's what you asked me to do.
Show the camera.
It's right there.
That's
You
it.
can show the camera.
Show the camera.
All right.
I think this is how we should end it. We're approaching the hour mark.
Yep.
I think we should end it right now. All right. Can you see it?
Signed and
Back it
delivered.
up. Back it up. Now move it up a little bit. I can't believe I did. Okay, that's good enough. I'm sorry, audience, but he wanted to do that. Jack, you want to move that out? There you go.
Unless there's anything else we
You
want
guys
to talk
named 3. I named you 5.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. I want to say something. Make sure you like and subscribe. Yeah. Efren, take it away.
Listen, I just want to thank everyone for watching our second episode here at the Sports Shed Podcast. Like he said, hit subscribe, like, make comments. Let's keep it clean as far as the comments goes. because there are actually minors that do watch this, so we do apologize for the one word that did slip out today on the show. That's never gonna happen again.
sorry.
Don't worry, we'll bleep it. We'll bleep it.
You have our word on that. But other than that,
This is
though,
a family-friendly podcast. We have to tame him. Okay, he's learning. He's learning.
And viewers, I'm sorry you had to hear about the Giants so much.
It's
I
like,
promise you that's not gonna happen a lot. If not, we'll put it in mute until he's done speaking. But in any event,
100%.
thank you for
Put a little
watching our
intermission.
Thank you for watching our second episode. And at the end of the day, again, hit subscribe and like. Keep the comments clean, and we welcome every single comment.
And
Thank you.
And let us know what you would like us to talk
Yep.
about.
In any event, good night, folks.